Hi, it's Erin Dalia from Mind Me, and today I'm bringing you another video on one of my adventures as I teach you ancient traditions for modern use. Each of these videos and all the content that I strive to bring forward are things that I have learned in helping build a bridge to a lifestyle I've always dreamed of, free of the different traumas that I've experienced in my life and definitely built on the pillars of the lessons that I've learned. So I hope that you enjoy this video and that you also find ways to bring it forward in your life to build a lifestyle that you've always dreamed of. Enjoy!
Good afternoon, everybody. It is Erin Dalia from Mind Me again, and I'm here to talk about journaling. Now, I know prior I've talked about journaling as a 101 session where we identified the different types of journaling and whether you're more of a creative journaler or you're more of a dear diary journaler or you're more of just a few sentences. But today I wanted to take a deeper dive into why journaling. What is the practice of the mind that allows journaling to be such a potent activity? And so first I want to introduce my layout because it's very applicative to this story today. I'm sitting on top of Mount Beacon here in New York, and you can see the valley behind me. And it was quite a challenge to come up here today because I had to overcome that mental obstacle of climbing a mountain to get to the top on a rather windless and very hot day. And a lot of times it's, oh my God, my knee hurts, or it's too hot, I have to keep stopping. There's a lot of mental challenges that we have when we go to face something or do something, whether it's new or it's not new. And there's this game that we get into with our minds that we have to start learning to overcome, because it will use the mind, everything from the pain in your knee to it's too hot, there's not enough wind, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna have a heart attack, they're gonna find me on the side of the trail. I think you get the point. But the act of journaling every day, whether it is whatever style you should choose, starts to instill the ability to sit on that edge of your mind. Because every day, whether I want to write 2 sentences or more, or whether I want to talk about whatever was going on in my dreamscape versus my actual consciousness, I'm still showing up. I'm showing up and I'm doing the work. And that takes on a lot of different faces, which we will continue to explore. But it also means that I'm confronting myself all the time. I'm taking that opportunity to call myself out on a lot of things while writing. And so now it's no longer just the story in my head. It's not just my past. It's not what I'm projecting into the future. But now it's on paper. It's real. It's in my material realm. And that means not only can I go back and read it and look at it, I can burn it should I feel I need to make my peace with it, but I also can have that, wow, I really just wrote that down moment. What does that actually mean? Like, you process it. You start to emotionally process it very differently from if you had just sat there and thought about it all day. Because when you're thinking about it like that, you're getting emotional. Your body is starting to react. You're starting to release the hormones of having emotions that make that challenging. Whereas when you start the day, or any part of your day, end the day, with a little bit of writing, excuse the bugs, then you're taking the time to kind of empty the mental container, so to speak. You're getting it out there, you're healthily looking at what you wrote, whether you can read it or not is another story, but you're definitely looking at it. And that means that you can now seek help from it from a healthier vantage point, because it's no longer just this emotional blah. You're not going to go to somebody and just be like, blah, 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 all over the place. You're going to be like, you know, I had this thing happen, and this is what I gained from it, and this is what I thought of it, and this is the part that I'm really having a hard time assimilating or integrating or even understanding. And at that point, it takes you out of the realm of being a dramatic person mentally. You're not spiraling a story in your head. But now you're coming together and you're like, wow, I had some really conscious time to sit with this in my own mind and on paper, and to really look how it's going to be perceived, so that I can ask the healthiest questions possible, so that I can get through whatever I'm going through, or I can stop a mental pattern. That also takes on, so that's a breaking of patterns, a mental pattern. And then there's also the opportunity to create mental patterns, which is something I don't think I've really talked about before, but I do assign as homework within the Intuitive Breakthrough Bootcamp. And that is repetitive writing 2 to 3 times a day, just as much as I would ask to journal about what you're actually experiencing, can create mental patterns. It also starts a reticular activator kind of moment where you're now seeing this in your exterior environment. And that thing that you're having a hard time processing on the interior environment, you're writing it down. So we say, I, Erin D'Elia, am beautiful and strong. I, am this and I am that. And then you go and you say, she is, same 3 sentences over again. And then, do another tense and you start writing those. And you maybe do 1 page of those sequences of sentences. It actually gets you to confront why you're not that in the first place. So say if you're having self-confidence issues and you're starting to break through the barrier or belief cycle that you accumulated over time that's not allowing you to show up as your best person, you can sit there and say, okay, I don't feel like enough. I don't feel like who I show up as is enough. I don't feel like who people expect me to be can ever be fulfilled. I'm afraid of failing, and this is why. Because X, Y, and Z thing happened to me at X, Y, and Z point in my life, and I made this rule, this pattern, to prevent that from happening again. And as innocuous as that might have been at 5 years old, later down the line when we're trying to grow and develop something, whether we're trying to be the best person in a work situation or we're building a business or what have you, it becomes a barrier or a wall that we use to defend ourselves, but it also holds us back from moving forward. And so when you sit down and you do this repetitive writing style, then you can really get into facing that repetitively over and over throughout the day. And then you're starting to see in your environment where those things are, or who those people are, or who those situations are, whatever it may be. But that's part of the challenge. That's part of the challenge of understanding where and when you made this belief structure, barrier, wall, pick a word, and why you did it, and then start thinking about it as, hey, okay, cool. I did it then, and this is when I've used it, and this is when I've used it, and oh snap, I caught myself using it again, and that's why I didn't get that promotion, and it's why I didn't do that thing, and it's why I didn't get stronger, or start that business, or the business failed at some point. And that's when we can start seeing it, oh, well, here's that opportunity for me to grow again, but I know what that feels like because I made a barrier when I was a child to not do that again, and that's that line where I need self-confidence to move forward. I am self-confident. I am. She is. It is. And it's no longer a past event being projected into the future. It's now something you're going to say, oh, I remember when I did that, and I know what it feels like, and I know that if I make this choice to be self-confident and to show up as I really am, then I'm going to get to where I want to be on the other side, a very happier person living a lifestyle that I absolutely love living. And it takes a bit of courage because you're going to sit there at the edge of your fear and you're going to write and write and write. And in about 5 days or so, you're going to either have a massive breakthrough or you're going to keep writing until you get there. Sometimes, a few days. Sometimes it's like a month-long habit. For real. But that's the commitment you make to being a master of yourself. Because mastery means that you failed/falled more times than a student dreamed of trying. So your dedication to growing that feeling within, to opening your heart, to being present, to showing up, is what drives you to say, I've got another thing, another shift, another growth that has to happen here. And I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop until I'm doing and living the life that I've always wanted to live and showing up as the person I know I am, and that's who I am. So journaling today was a lot of, am I going to hurt myself? I'm getting older, like I'm alone, I'm hiking, I'm up finally here on top of this beautiful mountain, and it wasn't easy, but it was worth every drop of sweat. And so I just gave myself permission to take as many stops as I needed in order to get here. And I didn't stop. I didn't turn around. I didn't go down the mental spiral of all of those things. And when I found myself doing it, I took the time to sit there. I wrote on my phone because I didn't bring my book with me. It was my fault. And just be honest with myself about why I was so afraid. Why would I allow myself to stop? And why was I judging myself to keep going on? And when I came to the end of that, I realized I just needed a break to catch my wind. It's a hot day. I'm good. Okay, I'm going to keep walking. And that's what I did. And lo and behold, I'm at the top of the mountain, which is, I think, very apropos for this talk about journaling, because when you come to face the mental self, you're very devious to yourself. Whether you admit it or not is up to you, but you're really good at explaining and rationalizing why it's okay to have certain thought patterns and why it's okay to continually show up a certain way, when all you really need to do is say, oh, I recognize that, I'm not going to participate anymore. I noticed today that I participated, and this is why, and this is when, and I noticed that I was really just afraid of failing, or not showing up, or not being accepted, not being heard, and that's what happens. So I invite you, my sweet, sweet friends, to take some time to think about, even replay this video a few times, because you're probably going to need to listen to a few of those little nuggets along the line for your inspiration, or even to help explain why it is that journaling can be so challenging, and how it is you can use journaling to change things, not just connect with what's going on subconsciously. So, from now until then, so much light, so much love. Jai Bhagwan, my friends. Hi, I'm Erin Dalia from Mind Being, and I invite you to join me on my journey as I show you how I've created the bridge to healing the connections between my soul, my mind, and my body to help end lifestyle of pain and suffering and to live the life I've always dreamed of. And with all of this content, I hope that you are able to build a bridge where you are able to live the life you've always dreamed of. So from now until then, my friends, subscribe and like and follow along as we build this journey together. From now until then, aho, so much light and love.